your perfecting tool is going to be in pressed form as well, because our feeling is that you've put this much hydration and this much textural perfecting onto the skin surface. You don't need a moisturizing concealer. You don't actually want a moisturizing concealer because, as you probably all have experienced, they slip and slide and break down and fall apart during the course of the day. Anything wax-based is always going to warm up and fall apart. So what you don't want is wax. What you want is pressed mineral that actually acts like an insulation against heat and keeps your skin cooler during the day. And because it doesn't respond to warmth by breaking down, it actually locks onto your skin more as it warms up. So it's the lowest maintenance, most stable cosmetic you could choose. So if you really dislike that makeup meltdown that tends to occur, this is your solution to that. So if you think of the face in zones, the eye area, nose and cheek, and then chin and forehead area, we tend to have different types of discoloration in each of those areas. And so the kit is designed to address those different types of discoloration that you would see all the time. This isn't anything beyond a solution for every day, because any level of makeup you're doing for every day is a form of camouflage on some level. So this gives you a tool to camouflage with without being obvious. So the brush you're going to work with, you all have a kabuki brush, of course, so you'll work with that. But then the next brush you're going to work with, all the brushes tell you what they are on the handles. And then you have a band around them that also tells you what they are. So you're looking for your flat concealer brush, which is very slick and firm, and it has kind of a tapered shape. And if you notice, it's fatter at the bottom and narrower at the top, and then the tip and the edge and the sides, all three can be used for different sizes of discoloration. So you really have more like 3 brushes in one with this. So if we look at our kit, we can see that from left to right, you have gradations of yellow, peach, and rose. Yellows cancel out red. For that red nose, that red chin, those overly red cheeks, those occasional red blemishes, those are your go-tos for red. Peach cancels out gray. So you could categorize any of those blue-gray, blue-purple, blue-violet circles around your eyes as gray. Also, it's very effective for canceling out brown. That pigmentation is classified as brown. So you can think of it in very basic terms. The irregularities we tend to see most are reds, grays, browns. So this kit is for those. The last color in the kit is quite versatile. It can be a neutral cheek color, it can be a neutral eyeshadow, but my favorite way to use it is to sculpt and contour the face with. But that's only after you're happy with the level of perfecting that you've done with your concealer. So rather than being overwhelmed by your full face, look at your face in sections. So if we look at the eye area, and just go ahead and close lightly and tilt back just a little bit. If we look at the eye, we tend to have still a bit of a pink tone on our lids, so we'll use our 2 yellows for any pink on the lid. And then if we look at the inner corner, that's where all our gray tends to start. So we're using a press and rock motion to allow the pressed mineral to become a concentrated concealer. If I took my kabuki brush and buffed it over the eyes, it would be sheer. It wouldn't be camouflage. To allow it to stay camouflage, it has to be pressed and not buffed. So look upward for me now at the ceiling. That's great. So we're continuing to eliminate any blue or gray shadows in the inner corner, and we're working, of course, with our peach because peach cancels gray. And her outer corners, like most of us, are a bit shadowy as well, so we'll go out there too. So under the eye, because this is a very fragile area, it's very thin, it's prone to things having too much texture, you want to tap and pat, just like you were doing with your serums. If you pat your pigment under your eyes, it's not going to accentuate and it's not going to build up. It's just going to melt into the serums you laid down first. So for under eye, it's tap. For inner corner, it's press. For lid, it's press. And then if we move down to the cheek and nose, this is more about pink for most of us, pinks and reds. So we'll go back to our yellow, and we'll just use that to neutralize any visible redness. So I'm deliberately doing just one side of our model's face first, and of course I'll do the second side, I promise. But we find that it's important for visuals to really see that progression, to be really clear about the value of each step during these workshop formats. So we're continuing across the cheek with our yellows. The chin tends to be a yellow issue, a red issue for most of us. And then as we move back across the cheek, it's a little bit about some pigmentation. So we're going to the tip of our brush because these are small, tiny areas, and we're still using our peach because peach cancels out brown as well as gray. And we're pressing because pressing allows it to stay concentrated. So just any of those little irregularities we're addressing with either yellow or peach. So then the last way that she could use her kit is she could sculpt her lid, her cheek, her jaw, and her forehead, which are all your main structural areas. So for that, you'll want a different brush, which is in your set, of course, as well, which is the Slant Blush Bronzer Contour. So this is the brush you'll use for your sculpting color, that last number 5 color. So if we think of the face as a two-dimensional surface, naturally the structure is at its peak under the bone. So we've got the top of the cheekbone, the structure happens under it. We've got the jaw, the structure happens under it. We've got the sides of the forehead area, which is more frontal, and then you have the sides. So we've got the top of the bridge of the nose, we've got the sides. So all of your contouring happens under the high areas. So we're going to the rose color in the kit. We're using the slant, and we're pressing and sliding, following that bone shape. So then that whole indentation continues under the jawline. So we're coming all the way down under the jaw. Again, sliding, pressing and sliding. Fading that down towards the collarbone. Curving back under the cheekbone. And then we're curving around the sides of the forehead to frame. And then for the bridge of the nose, of course, which is a smaller area, we'll want to pinch our brush just a bit, and we'll target the side of the nose. So the great thing about contouring is that it creates immediate highlights. So really important to contour first because that tells you where your highlights go. And your highlights, of course, are created when you add depth. There's an immediate highlight on top. So we're going all the way back down to that brightest ivory in the kit, and we'll pinch again, and we'll just highlight the top of the bone, and the top of the bone, and then the center of the forehead. And then the top of the bridge of the nose. I also find the chin, the ball of the chin is a great place to highlight, and I love to highlight above the upper lip to bring that area forward. So then once you're happy with the concealing, the contouring, the highlighting, mist to set. The mineral particles become that much more locked onto the skin surface when you temporarily get them wet, and also, as we've been talking about, it activates the most reflective nature in the mineral, making any camouflage that you've done appear to be transparent. So it's a crucial, non-negotiable finishing product that you all need to get the best result with your pressed mineral. So mist until the skin looks visibly a little wet. And just do a slow glamour turn for everyone. So what I like to describe what you're seeing is as we've brought her face into focus. We're not distracted by irregularities, so we see her eye color more. We see the shape of her eyes more. We see the shape of her face more. So it's not about looking overtly made up, it's about an entirely different type of a cosmetic effect where you look in focus and healthy and rested and younger. Makeup should do that for you. It shouldn't just be about, oh, I have number 62 eyeshadow on. It should be about, this is my best facial finish.